Well, hello, beautiful people. Today we are going to be talking about something that has a huge impact on every area of your life: habits, right? Whether you realize it or not, habits shape how we are, how we live, and even the quality of our relationships, if we have some, right? So let's dive into it. What really habits are and how long it takes to establish a good one, how challenging it can be, and the most important is how long does it take to break a bad one, right? And how these habits can significantly improve relationships. And if this topic resonates with you, I highly recommend the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It is a game changer, and it comes to understanding when it comes to understanding and mastering habits, right? So, really quickly, what first of all, let's start with a simple question. What exactly are habits, right? A habit is a routine behavior that you perform regularly, often, without even thinking about it. It's sometimes that it becomes so ingrained in your daily life that it feels automatic. It's like brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth, grabbing your phone first thing in the morning, or even the ways you respond to stress. And there's another video that I did. If you guys want to watch, I'll leave it up here, where it talks about the four different ways to know whether or not a habit is instilled. This one just goes a little more into habit, and that's just more about competency and like how you've actually changed something. And so that video is a little bit different, but like I said, I'll put it up in the comments here before. I'll put it up here so you guys can see it. So, but habits really are formed through the process of a thing called a habit loop. Now, this is very interesting, and I really, if you guys want to take notes, pay attention here, because it actually consists of three parts. So think of it like as a queue, right? Like a queue where you put things in and it's on hold, right? And then you actually have the routine and then the reward. So the cue is what triggers the habit. The routine is the behavior itself, and then the reward is the benefit you get from completing the habit. So, like over time, this loop becomes ingrained in your brain, making the behavior automatic, right? So, straight from Atomic Habits, they break down this process in a way that's easy to understand and apply. If you're serious about mastering your habits, the book is definitely a must read. Okay. So how long does it take to establish a habit is always a question I get. And you've probably heard that it takes about 21 days to form a habit. Well, I did some research on this, and I was a little surprised. So you'd be surprised that it's not just that simple. Research actually shows that it actually takes anywhere from 18 to 254 days to establish a new habit. But of course, they broke it down to an average of being about 66 days, because every situation, every person is different, but on average, it takes about 66 days. So about a little bit over 2 months, right? And so the time that it takes can vary depending on the complexity also of the habit. It's also your motivation, and of course the big one is how consistent you are. So let's just say that you want to start exercising regularly. In the beginning it might feel like a chore, but if you stick with it, your brain will start to associate the cue, like putting on your workout clothes, and then with the reward, the endorphin rushes, better health, things like that. um, then over time, the workout will become a natural part of your routine, and then something that you do without even thinking about it twice. Okay, so let's break this down. Okay, so breaking a habit is another thing before we get into breaking down, right? So breaking a habit is also something that we want to keep in mind, because this is something that was very curious to me in understanding, because breaking a habit is a different story. Breaking a bad habit can be much harder actually than establishing a new one. And that's mainly because you're fighting against something that's already deeply ingrained in your brain. And the same research suggests that breaking a habit can take just as long, if not longer, than forming one. Now, I've actually heard that you start that breakdown process within a 7 day period, just because you're going back into old habits. But again, it's very very variable, like, but just kind of keep that in mind, when you're doing this. And the main thing is making a habit long enough so that it does become completely ingrained, right? So let's just say that you have a habit of you checking your phone every time you're bored, right? This is pretty common with a lot of people. So to break this habit, you need to identify the cue, which is boredom, and then you want to change the routine. So instead of grabbing the phone, you might choose to read a book, or go on a walk, right? And then you find a new reward. So like that could be a feeling of relaxing, or gaining knowledge, right? And it takes time and consistency and patience to just rewire your brain, but it is definitely possible. Now, also, I just wanted to cover a little bit when it comes to relationships, right? So, how does this habits apply in relationships? Just like in any other areas of your life, the habits you form in your relationships can have a massive impact, both positive and negative. Positive. Think about the small habits that can strengthen your relationships, right? Things like regularly expressing gratitude, actively listening, or setting aside time for each other. These habits, when practiced consistently, can deepen your connection and create stronger, a more fulfilling relationship. Now, what about those bad habits, right? Breaking those bad habits. So, on the flip side, negative habits like always checking your phone during dinner, or reacting defensively, during arguments. These things definitely can slowly, ruin and hurt trust and intimacy in the relationship. And breaking these habits might even, involve difficult conversations and a conscious effort. But the result, of course, is going to be healthier and more supportive in the relationship, right? So, how can we essentially start building better habits? So, what you want to do basically is, you want to identify things that are holding you back, right? So, again, going back to that loop, which I really really helped me understand this. And if you want to write it down, go ahead. You want to identify the cue, okay, and then the routine, and then the reward of the habit that you want to change or to create. The big thing here is you want to start small. You don't want to try to change everything at once, right? Because that's how you get overwhelmed. You just want to start with one habit, focus on that, and then just be consistent. Another thing is, you want to take your time, be patient. Remember that it takes time to form or break a habit. So you want to be patient with yourself, be loving, be kind, and just ultimately you want to stay committed. Now the big thing, and this is something that I still have to do and remind myself, but it is so important, is that you want to celebrate the little wins. Even if it's just something as like, hey, you were aware of this and you noticed a break in the pattern, and now you're like, giving yourself a reward. So, every time you successfully perform a positive habit, or you resist a negative one, you want to celebrate that win, right? And it just reinforces the behavior, and it keeps you motivated. Maybe it's just treat yourself to dinner, or I mean, there's so many different things that can reward you in a happy way. You want to sit there and you want to watch a movie that day or something like that. Now you want to think about this also when it comes to habits, in relationship, because maybe it's you want to be able to communicate more openly, spend more quality time together, or showing appreciation regularly. These small actions repeatedly, consistently, can make a big difference. So, just to understand things, again, habits really are incredibly powerful. They shape your daily life, influence your decisions, and they, impact your relationships. By understanding how a habit works, how long it takes to form or break them, and applying the knowledge to your relationships, you can create positive changes that will last. And you just again want to start small. The key is just to stay consistent and watch ultimately how your life and relationships over time will change. Now, if you are interested, like I mentioned, if you are interested in getting more deeper into this topic, I highly recommend reading this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. It is on Amazon's bestseller list. It is a highly recommended book. It is a fantastic resource for anyone looking to master habits and creating lasting change. And I think if you guys want me to, I could do a full book review on this topic. Atomic Habits. So if you guys want that, let me know down in the comments below. And of course, you guys, until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others who might benefit from this message. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content. And of course, follow me on all my social media links. And until next time, you guys make it a great day. Take care.